fucking get my door put the fucking door in.
Hello everybody, this is just another wee short story for Phil Sutton in York Prison, where I've already explained in the other story about the IRA and the Rangers top and that, and roses and the orange sweeties, and it got well received in the Sun today, you know what I mean? And I hope the boys in the Islands have saw it as well. It was just a humorous story, you know what I mean? But another story I want to talk about, a guy I met in there. This guy was a special guy, by the way. It's actually a tribute to him. His name was Cunningham. So when I first arrived at Phil Sutton, after a few days, I was in this wing, and this guy approached me, he had glasses on and all that, and he was about a year or two older than me. And he says, "Hi, my name's Des Cunningham, from South London." I'm sure he came from Walworth, but Walworth or Elephant Castle. And I says to him right away, I says, Des, he called, and he says, call me what you want, Desi. So I called him Desi. And I says, by the way, I says, see when I was on the run for that bank robbery, Des, I says, when I escaped for the police, I got my handcuffs and that off. And he went, I says, I know a wee bit about your story, he says, because I've met somebody else in that. I went, right. So I says, I headed to Elephant Castle. I says, and by the way, I says, and you'll know this, I says, Des, and you'll laugh. I says, the guy says to me, I says, he was to meet me at the Charlie Chaplin pub. And I went, the Charlie Chaplin pub? And Des right away went, aye, you can have the Elephant Castle tube. You got, it's a big roundabout. I says, aye, that's right, mate. I says, I just thought this was funny. So anyway, me and Des became kind of pals, you know what I mean, the next few weeks. So after a couple of months in Phil Sutton, there was this wing. It wasn't a new wing, it was already up and created. But they decided the guys want to go over there. It was doing 15 years and over. So they came and asked me, and they asked Des, and Des says, you got to go over. So me and him landed in this wing, and the boys that was there, as I already spoke about, Joe was there, Eddie was there, and Harry, Eddie, Joe and Shuey were there for the Balcombe Street. There was also a lot of notorious figures in this wing. There was Archibald Hall, the butler, he killed 5 or 6 people. There was Mickey McAvoy for the Brinks Map, who was a gentleman, by the way. There was all sorts of people there, there was loads of London guys, big drug dealers and Italian gangsters, everybody. So this wing was good, but so Desi was next door to me, and he says to me, do you want to go on a food boating? And I went, I knew what a food boat was. It's you chip your money in for your wages, and because to put you in the picture, in these top security prisons in England, security is paramount, and so you've got a wee bit of relaxation. You can get your own pots and pans in, utensils, tracksuits and all that. But so that's what I wasn't a cook. I didn't do any cooking anyway. I'd like if I could boil an egg. So Desi says, right, on the food boat. So again, a lot of people were saying to me, oh, you and Desi have struck up. I says, aye. I says, bang, he's a good guy. And they went, he says, he's very well respected in London, which I came to know later on. And so Des was doing the cooking. Oh, by the way, he could have been a master chef. Cordon bleu meals, the lot. He was fantastic. So he says, Ian, do you want to learn to cook? And I went, aye. And he was very patient with me, Desi. And so we got into cooking facilities. You could buy all your food and all the rest of it. So I was getting interested in it. I would take a wee notepad down, and Des was making these meals and go, right, but you need garlic, onions, spices, everything else, you know what I mean? And I'm writing all down and watching them and all that, but I'm not going to be as good as Des. Fantastic thing, but with some good times doing it, the kitchen servery. Me and Des, I was his assistant. Then we would go up to the cell, and we would have our tea, our dinner, about 4:30, because you get locked up at 5 o'clock in all these prisons. But the reason you get locked up at 5 is so the screws or the officers can go away and have their own tea. So we always ate about 4:30, and so as time went on, me and Desi struck it up well. He wasn't just talking to me, I was just next door to him and I was in the food boat with him. Then another boy joined in, and if he's still, if it's Bernie for Wales, say hello Bernie, he's the top guy. He joined the food boat, gentleman by the way, and also on the wing at the time, I think one of the Colston brothers was in. Peter, what's his name? Peter. There was 2 brothers, Peter, and I can't remember my minute anyway, because this is all a long time back, and I got on with them well, and I think Peter it was. It wasn't Peter it was in. It was his other brother. Peter was done with the Bank of America years ago, which people in London don't know about. So it was all these faces and all that and all that, and I'm just a wee guy from Springburn and all that. So Desi was keen on his gym. Desi didn't take drugs in prison. No, I mean, I was smoking hash. You were allowed to smoke hash in there. We weren't allowed, but before this Michael Howard cunt brought in all these fucking restrictions, I says everybody was all chilled, and he brought these restrictions in about drugs, the MDT, mandatory drug testing, and hash stayed in your body for 28 days, and heroin was 3 days. So everybody was all happy. Then they brought that in when I'd been in about 3 or 4 years, and to tell you the truth, it was a shame. It brought a lot of good guys, I must say, and top guys get on heroin, and other people phoning up their sisters and mothers, oh, can you get me this? And it wasn't just £50, it was hundreds of pounds and sometimes thousands of pounds. And it was sad to see, you know what I mean? But I never done that. I stuck to the hash and my hooch, as you know, with the IRA boys on a Friday night. The best poutine lads. Big shout out again. If he's over in Donegal, and Pat from Belfast, another shout out. Hope you enjoyed the story, Pat. I might come over and see you one day, because I've read some of the comments, and some of the comments have said, look, the IRA don't care who anybody supports. They just support their country. So that was a reassurance many years later. I just read that the other day there. But back to Des. Des had already been in Parkhurst by the time, and the rumours, he never told me so, by he was too proud a guy and all that to say that. During the period I was in there, that 3 years in Full Sutton, I get moved, but while I was in, people were saying, oh, Desi and all that, and Desi, you could see the thing with radiating out of him, that guy, a bit of power in him. He was a face, and everybody had respect for him. And a few people says to me, do you know he stabbed Charlie Bronson? I went, what? He says, he stabbed Charlie. I says, I heard Charlie Bronson get stabbed right enough before Charlie went into isolation. This was Desi in 93. This must have been 91 or 92. And Desi, there was some altercation, and he says someone cheeky to Des. And Des allegedly supposed to have stabbed him and all that, right? But Charlie Bronson never brought charges and all that. So this was kind of a calibre of the guy, but a gentleman. So we move on. I get moved to Franklin Prison in 96. So I hadn't saw Desi. And then I moved to Long Lartin. Still hadn't saw Desi again, but we kept in touch. We'd send Christmas cards and that. I think I've got one here for him. Get 2 here for him, in fact. You know, 2. And they are signed, they are Desi's cards, I wouldn't say that. It's one there, it's one there for him. I mean, we kept in touch. I regarded him as a close pals. The wee guy for Springburn, know what I mean? So, Desi, I forgot to mention this. When I get moved out of Full Sutton in 96, I think when I went 97, 98, Desi, there was a riot. He came and took Desi for no reason to the block, and he was that well respected. A couple of the wings had a riot. My pal Mick Keeley was there, he was involved. Never got involved, but the wing was all smashed up to get Desi out the block. This is how well he was respected. But this story is for the youth of today, really, and for Desi. It's a tribute for Desi. If you lead this life, this path that I'm talking about, as a sad ending. Desi went to Whitemoor prison, and by this time I'm in Long Lartin prison, and I'm with Ronnie O'Sullivan Senior, as I've already said in other things. Me and Ronnie are close friends, and a wee guy, Jamie Patel, for Islington. We're in this wing in Long Lartin. So tragically, in 1998, Desi took his own life. And to say that was a shock, it wasn't a shock, it was a bombshell. Word filtered through to us in Long Lartin that Desi tragically took his own life in Whitemoor. One of the cards had just had a Christmas card for him. So he done it on New Year's Eve. So I must say, I was stunned. The whole prison was stunned. A guy the calibre of that, he would have got out of prison, and for continued crime, he'd have been away up there. Very well respected, manners, the law, great chef, taught me to cook. So me and Ronnie and that were sitting in the cell on Christmas Day, 1999. We were in my cell and we went, oh, can't believe this and all that. And so, say the prison officer got banged up 5 to 6. So they came back down to my cell and everybody looked at each other and went, were you thinking what I was thinking? And so I says to Ronnie and that, and I went, if somebody can take their life like that, somebody like Desi, oh by the way, I'll interrupt this, he only had 15 months to go to be released, right? This is how prison can fuck your life up. That boy had done 9.5 years, his family well respected in Walworth, that's where he came from, near the Elephant Castle. And I says to Ronnie and the other boys, I went, I was lying in my bed for that hour going, am I going to kill myself? No, this is serious, this is just not, this is the way we did think. And Ronnie and that and all went, I know, he says, we still can't get out of this. Nobody could get out of it in the system. And this was the guy that was well known. This was 22 years ago, and I wrote a letter, got his mother's address and all that, got it here. And I'll just read a wee bit. I'm not going to read it all. Put these glasses on. Right, come from Wall. Here's London. And the date is the 22nd of the 2nd, 99. Dear Ian, thank you for the sympathy card and the sad sudden death of Des. Thought a lot about his friends and loved ones and his family. He's got 2 brothers, 3 sisters. He says he thought a lot about the pals in prison. But I'm not going to get into all the letter. She says she was in closing, I think it was his sister. His sister Anne-Marie, Margie and Linda, and 2 brothers Noel and Andrew. So she says, I'm reading this bit here now, she says, say a little prayer now and then to Des, and for that, and we will have the strength to carry on. Well, I can tell you now, this is what, this is over 22 years ago, and I don't say a prayer, I think about him often, so I do, and I'm no lying. And another letter, one of my pals, Joe Collins, somebody says in the comments section, the guy with the one leg, Joe Collins, says, was he IRA? And I replied back and says, no. I says, Joe Collins was my pal, we were on the food boat, this was many years later in Long Lartin, and Joe sent me a letter. Joe came from Cricklewood at the time. He says, hello Ian, hope this finds you okay. I went to Desi's funeral on Friday. As you can imagine, it was a sad day for all. Plenty of people there, I'm not getting to there, plenty of flowers. He says, and by the way, Ian, I sent a wreath for you. And we went, well Ian, I'm still in shock. And see Joe Collins, by the way. Joe's a tough old guy, and it takes a lot for him to be shocked. He was very pals with Desi. Desi had loads of friends. So put that back in. Desi. So the message I'm trying to get today is, I was thinking about Desi because I've got all these things, and I saw these the other night. I've got boxes and boxes of things, paperwork. And I thought to him, I said, well, I'm going to do a tribute to the guy, because my story is the youth of today don't go down the path. There you have a guy, Desi Cunningham, and I'm sure many Londoners will watch this. I would like them to comment on their thoughts of Des, because I'm not talking shit here. This was a true guy, and took his own life. 15 months to go. And I can tell you this now, he'd have come out and he'd have took over London. And that's not just something I'm saying lightly here. I think he was 30, just to get this right, I think he was 39. Yes, he was aged 39, he took his own life 22 years ago, right? And so the young ones of today, you take that path, somebody like this took their own life, right, after 9.5 years. And it's not an easy life in prison, as I've just demonstrated here. And we were all thinking, oh, are we all going to take our own lives? Because of Desi, you know what I mean? Because he was so highly respected and thought of. But my message to the youth today, go down that path, do the crime, yous will need to do the time and suffer the consequences. Never mind about the Xboxes, the shells in the cell, and the TVs and all the rest of it. When that door, I'm sick of saying this, when this door shuts at 9 o'clock at night, you think of your girlfriend, think of your wife, you've got a lot of time in your hands, you're going, when is this black tunnel going to end? So, I'll be speaking a lot more about this. Desi just came into my mind during the week there, and I loved the guy, you know what I mean? The guy was brilliant, you know what I mean? And it broke me a bit up. I'd done what then? I'd been in prison. How long had I been in prison? I'd been in about 7.5 years, maybe 8 years. And tragic, and that's all I'm going to say in the matter. And if Mr. and Mrs. Cunningham were still with us here today, and his two brothers, Noel and Andrew, and the three sisters, what's the name again? Don't want to get it wrong. The three sisters, Anne Marie, Margie and Linda, are listening. My heartfelt sorrow goes out to you. So 22 years on, I still think about him. And just tragic. So young ones, try and listen. This is another wee story. So this will be all for today from the Blink.